Looking for God, yes. Juno and Agathon. The notes you find the mystery of Agathon research tantalizing enough to pay him a visit. Yeah, let's do it. Let's end the quest all together so we can focus on something else later. You know what to expect when you return to the small bookstore serving as Agathon's haven. The cacophony of awkward imagery assaults you from the book covers displayed on the window, but under the fake facade there's something real. This time the Buddhas and the satanic Bibles of the storefront seem almost funny. Or perhaps you have just started to tune into the dry humor of these Camarilla. Just as you're about to ring the door opens and Agathon stomps out, you step aside just in time to avoid having him stumble into you. Midori, what are you doing here? I came to help you. Look, I came to help you like last time. Okay, fine, you're right, follow me. As he turns to go, Agathon almost looked pleased that you're here. Agathon walks to his car with you in tow. It didn't occur to you the last time, but it's a surprisingly pedestrian vehicle. An aging, mid-sized family sedan. You imagine what it would look like with a baby seat in the back. Opening the door on the driver's side, Agathon noticed your look. Laugh all you want, but it's inconspicuous and practical. You sit in the car, and he starts driving in his usual careful style. At least you'll never be stopped by traffic cops. It seems Agathon is not interested in small talk. What's this all about? I love a good mystery, as much as the next vampire, but at some point you have to tell me what you're doing. Let me ask you a question in return. Have you ever tasted any blood from sheep, for example? No. New York's not the best place to hunt for wildlife, you know. You'll be surprised. There are plenty of pigeons, rats, dogs, cats. But your instinct is correct. Any blood tastes vile. If it didn't, our lives would be very different. Anyway, something to think about. You exit Manhattan over the Brooklyn Bridge and soon reach the side of the nightclub that seems to be your destination. It's on the riverfront, converted former warehouse. After Agathon has parked the car, it's time for you to enter the nightclub. You glance at the Camarilla, evaluating him. It's obvious this is not his kind of a place. You may have worked in finance, but your colleagues got to some crazy shit. If they did enough cocaine, you're not a party girl, but you don't stand out in a nightclub. Agathon does. There's a good chance the research notes are here. Research notes? So we're looking for research notes? Yes, and that's all you need to know. There's a line to the club. It looks like a popular night. Even if based on the crowd, this is not exactly a place for supermodels and celebrities. Presence charmed the bouncer. You walk up to the man at the door and smile. Hey, you remember it, right? Mind if we go in? The bouncer looks at you, taken in by your supernatural charisma. It doesn't matter whether he really remembers you or not. Sure, go right in, have a great night. You walk into the club, ignoring all the people standing in line. The music beats down on you, bringing with it memories of a human existence. The first time you went dancing with friends, when you flirted with someone on the dance floor. This time it's different. You are a predator, and everyone around you is prey. Tightly packed, twitching sacks of blood and tissue. You send the emotions all around you. Blood tint with happiness, lust, rage, jealousy, love, a buffet of sensations. Focus, keep an eye out for trouble while I look at for what we came to find. You nod and follow Agathon through the throng, trying to ignore all the warm flesh and circulating blood around you. Fitting opportunity drink from a club goer. You decide that the opportunity to feed has been handed to you, and it would be churlish to refuse. A young Latino man is dancing close to a beautiful drug-out girl. She takes his face in her hands and kisses him on the mouth. You slide closer to him, sink your teeth into the man's neck. He moans from the pleasure of the kiss, and the girl assumes it's because of her. You check to see nobody's watching and lick the wound close before disengaging and returning to look for Agathon. You find a young intense woman pointing a finger at his face. Agathon, you traitor! Don't you dare stand between me and what's mine! You look at the woman in surprise. Her appearance stands in contrast with the anger in her words. You know, Aisling will not let you leave with the notes. Perhaps she won't let you leave at all. Juno pulls close to Agatha's face and stage whisper loudly enough for you to hear her over the music. You're still so brainwashed. You care about what Aisling fucking Stubbridge wants. I'm done jumping through her hoops. I don't know what I saw in you, Agathon. You're such a lapdog. She's your ex? Sorry to interrupt, but is this woman your ex? Yes, we used to date. Maybe we still. What if you weren't such a fucking coward, Agathon? That's not fair, Juno. It's fair and you know it. You're too busy licking Aisling boots to realize what we had. Aisling doesn't wear boots. Don't correct me. At the start you realize Juno is genuinely upset. It's hard to say how long ago they broke up, but the wounds are still there. You're the kind of man who takes the side of his boss against his girlfriend. Juno's eyes glistened red with the blood of her tears. You look at Agathon with uncertainty. It was for your own good. Juno steps back, suddenly cold, ignoring the people dancing all around. She stares hard at Agathon. The past is past, the traditions that date me. You won't stop me, Agathon. I'm sure of that here now. You know I have the power. No, Juno, please. Agathon sounds panicked. He's not worried about his own survival, but most of the possibility that Juno is going to unleash a genuine masquerade breach. Present calm Juno down. Calling on the power of your blood, you step close to Juno between her and Agathon. Agathon was being an asshole. Don't hurt yourself just to get at him. It's not worth it. Juno looks at you in the eyes, and you can see that she's tired and scared. Defecting from the Camarilla is not easy or safe. You're right. She turns to go, then stops and glances back at you. You should pick your friends better. With that, Juno walks through the oblivious dancer towards the exit. Looking around, you realize that Agathon didn't stay to witness your exchange with Juno. Instead, he walked his way around the dancing crowd, looking for the notes using his arcane methods. After Juno's gone, he returns shaking his head. The notes were here, but not anymore. It's possible someone had them when they hunted here. After making sure Juno is nowhere to be seen, you and Agathon push your way outside. Outside, you walk to Agathon's car and drive back over the Brooklyn Bridge to Manhattan, heading for Agathon's haven. Juno mentioned some things that are personal. I trust your discretion. You're not talking about those things to Alec. Of course. Your love life is your business. Thank you. After a while, you reach Agathon's haven. He parks the car. You walk to the alcohol store and Agathon asks you inside. The smell of incense assault you as before, making you grateful not to have to breathe. You follow Agathon upstairs to find Aisling Stubbridge in an armchair reading an old book. She puts a bookmark in place as you come in. It was successful, I hope. No, I'm sorry, the notes had been there, but not anymore. That's a shame. I hope you won't run out of time. How did Sophie's little protege do? Agathon turns to look at you. Well, surprisingly well. That's a surprise. I have to give Sophie a compliment on her choice. Met Juno. Fortunately, she hasn't found the notes yet. That's interesting. The High Regents turn to look at you. Juno and Agathon seem to have a lot of complicated history. You do, don't you, Agathon? If Agathon was still a human, he'd blush. As it is, he just looks miserable. Yes, but it won't affect my work. Anyway, I have some things to discuss with Agathon. Go along now. And leave the Arca bookstore. The cheesy, mystical music still in your ears as you walk. You want to know about what happened with Juno. Why she's so anxious to leave her clan. Can she really do that? Could you leave service if you wanted to? Oh fuck. Tempts you to show your dominance, to prove you have the guts to take what you want. Fitting, that's just a thing. Coasting, no. Ordering more to bend to your will. Drinking deep with that lifeblood. Face pass you by. Though some look more wishing than others, any could do right now. Man, I just used, that opportunity to feast and it's not working, really? Now let's go to this guy. As you make your way down the Clinton Street, the incessant hum of traffic gives way to the ominous silence of the waterfront. You stop to take in the familiar bouquet of the Hudson, made all the more potent by your recently sharpened sense. Across the basin, the red hoop grain terminal rears its rusty frame. Once a bustling industrial area, now a sleeping giant splay out of the riverbank, forgotten, abandoned. Conveniently so, especially for one of the hidden. Keeping to the shadows, you stick closer to the dilapidated complex, making your way past hole-ridden silos and wobbly chain-link fence. By the time you reach the entrance to the main building, you can almost feel the rust particles making themselves cozy at the back of your throat. Not getting your hopes up, you give the door a slight nudge. To your surprise, it gives almost instantly. Looks like someone has been using it recently. Once inside, you'll find yourself in a large empty hall. Looking around, you can almost picture it back in its heyday, stacked to the rafters with heavy machinery. You notice a set of stairs leading up to a mezzanine, most likely an office space, and then you see it. A fan light coming from one of the upper rooms. Looks like you're in luck. Quietly, with bated breath, you climb the step and approach the dimly lit room. The door creaks open, revealing what looks like an old-timey detective's office, complete with crooked window blinds, an overflowing ashtray, and paper scattered across a wooden desk. Suddenly it hits you, that nagging feeling. This is all too convenient, too inviting. Before you can react, the trap is already sprung. A plum of cigar smoke wafts over your shoulder. The barrel of a gun rubs against your spine. A raspy voice whispers in your ear. Let me guess. Took a wrong turn at the third silo? Attempt to talk down the assailant. Present, make him stand down. Driven by a strange hunch, you open your mouth. You hear yourself talking, but the words are not yours. They seem to be coming from the deepest recess of your memory, a movie you saw as a child. You don't know why, but it seems oddly appropriating. I know what you're thinking. This punk ain't got anything on me. I'm sitting pretty on a loaded cold detective special, 5 in the cylinder, 1 in the chamber. And I only need the 1. As corny as it all sounds, the stranger seems oddly receptive to your tough guy monologue, so you decide to bump it up a notch. Focusing your weight, you boost your aura, filling the room with your presence. Your voice becomes smooth, oozing with charisma, a regular Sam Spade. You yourself can't help but feel a sense of awe. Hopefully the stranger feels it too. But then there's that nagging feeling. What if there's more to this girl that she lets on? What if she got me right where she wants me? Maybe I should hear what she has to say. You said right. Yeah, so how about we drop the tough guy and talk like adults? You can always shoot me once we're done. For a few 10 seconds, the room grows quiet. So quiet, in fact, you could swear you can actually hear the smoke swirling in the air. Finally, the stranger speaks again. You got a point there, kid. In the strange interplay of light and shadow, the stranger reappears behind his day. Seeing him in his role, for lack of a better word, glory, you can't help but smirk. This is the dread, not severity. The way Sylvia described them, you were expecting some grotesque monstrosity. With this guy, the clothes, the swagger, the hard-boiled detective routine, it all comes across as a bad show. Still, when it comes to appearance, his lineage is undeniable. From 30 feet away, he could probably pass for a bum with a nasty skin condition. From 5 feet away, he looks like something made to be seen from 30 feet away. Oh wow. He leans back in his chair, casually pointing his gun at you. So what brings you to my humble office? Are you D'Angelo? You're the one they call D'Angelo? That's my name, kid. Don't wear it out. My friend calls me Jin, so you best stick to D'Angelo for the time being. Now I suggest you tell me what this is about, otherwise I kindly ask you to get the fuck out of my office. I can see why Carter keeps you charming. I can see why he keeps you around. His expression sours. Not a name you wanna casually toss around, kid. But hey, I get it. You're not some random smudge wander here off the street, so let's get it down to the nitty-gritty. Who I work for is less important. What I'm working on, however. I know. It isn't going so well. So let me help. I think you could use some help. It gives you a look that is dirty even by the Nosferatu standards. Wow, ain't you clever? D'Angelo lowered his shades. For a few seconds he sits motionless, with his eyes fixed on yours. Suddenly he raises his gun, almost making you flinch, almost. Then he twirls it into his shoulder holster in a flashy display that definitely looks like it was practiced a lot in front of a mirror. You see the Nosferatu lips move, but the quiet mumbling clearly isn't meant for your ears. Listening in, you are able to catch snippets of his monologue. Sure, they seem to care. What was the end game? What was the end? Everybody's got one, even if they pretend like they don't. Especially then. What the hell? Maybe this time finally got to me. He paused, sticks a fresh cigarette between his crooked teeth. Maybe a good leap of faith is just what the doctor ordered. Offer him a light. As he reached into his pocket, you flashed a lit lighter before his eyes. Or maybe you could use a healthy dose of unhealthy. For a split second, he gives you a puzzled look, then he leans over to your lighter, puffing on the gig cigarettes as this catch fire. A wry smile comes back to his lips. I like you, kid. You might look like a used car salesman, but there's just something about you. I tell you what, I was just about to head back to the crime scene, take a look around, refresh my notes. You can tag along if you want to. I could use an assistant. Someone to take notes and make wild assumptions for me to shoot down. Who knows if you're any good? I might consider making this a long-term arrangement. What are we waiting for then? Just one more thing. You still got me at a disadvantage here. Seems like you have done some digging on me, but with you I've barely scratched the surface. You catch my drift? So answer me this, who was it that sent you into my neck of the woods? Or in layman's terms, who do you work for? Sophie Langley. For the first time since you got here, the Nosferatu adopts a look of genuine surprise. His eyes wander for a moment, finally giving way to a crooked smile. So you are the one, huh? The flashing the Toreador down spare. Yeah, that would make sense. Don't think she would appreciate you throwing her name around. Thanks for being up front, kid. One blink is enough for you to miss the D'Angelo finishing from his chair. Just when you're about to look around, he reappears right next to you up close. This might seem even more unnerving. Alright, one last spawning. Let's get cracking. With a certain fascination, you watch D'Angelo stumble his way across West Brooklyn. Oddly animated, incessantly scratching his face neck, stopping every once in a while for about a mumbling narration. He's most certainly a sight to behold. Still, he seems to be getting around okay, and you take particular note of the fact that he seems to be choosing the darker, less frequent street. There is definitely a method to his madness. Eventually, the cross guy takes a sudden turn off a Van Run Street and into a particularly dim alleyway. The torn piece of the yellow police tape at a dead giveaway. This has to be the place. Now here we are. Time for you to earn your stripes. This is where they found him. Drained dry, not a drop of blood in him. And before you ask, no, I didn't get to see the body, so I don't know if there were any bite marks. So what can you tell me? You take a moment to examine the crime scene. Judging by the chalk outline on the pavement, the man was killed recently. Curiously, there doesn't appear to be a trace of blood or viscera. And you know the city's cleanup crew isn't that fast or that thorough. Looking up, you notice a spray painted sign on the wall. It reads, "The blood speaks" in big crooked letters. You look to him. The Nosferatu gives you an expecting look. The graffiti looks like a clue. Sure, kid. We'll start with the elephant in the room. What do you think it means? You give the sign. Good hard look is no rhyme brain. The writing is Jack, clearly done in a hurry. It seems desperate. My thoughts exactly. It's as if someone wanted to get a message across, but was too scared to stick around and write the whole damn book. So we got the abridged versions. And then there's the blood. Like thereof. And given that the murder was committed right here and the victim didn't make a sound, we can therefore conclude that the killer is kindred. Bingo. Only kindred could drain a human this quickly, this quietly. Tell me, if you were to guess, which clan would you say our killer belongs to? I don't know. Maybe Chimera? Wait, I'm the Chimera known as Blood Sorcerers. This was probably some fuck up ritual up theirs. The warlocks do tend to get creepy at times, but they're not exactly the Manson family. It's just not their style. I might be jumping to conclusions, but my money's on the Thin Bloods. He paused. He spits out the mango. Remains of a cigarette. Shit, looks like we're gonna have to pay Larson a visit. You don't sound happy about it. It's complicated. Larson's got a neat setup for Thin Blood anyway. Lives with his family, a model family much. Even though he's a primogen, he has managed to shield them from kindred politics, and that takes some doing. Not sure if he knows who the killer is, but he could probably make an educated guess. In any case, would be doing him a favor. If it turns out one of his is violating the Masquerade, it would put him in an awkward position. And I mean shitting upside down awkward. It's the kind of weakness the other primogen would love to exploit. His position in the council is as bad as it is. He paused for a moment and mumbles to himself, but it's too quiet for you to make out. Finally, he lights up a fresh cigarette. He takes a puff and lets the smoke escape through his crooked smile. Alright, kid, let's get this over with. Compared to the industrial ugliness of Red Hook, Sterling Place is quite a change of scenery. The heavily gentrified and pleasantly dull residential area emanates the sort of peaceful apathy that rich hipsters scoff at and blue-collar workers dream of. All of a sudden, the Nosferatu stops. It almost seems like he was taking a deep breath, steeling himself for things to come. This is the place. With that, he points to a surprisingly nice-looking two-story house. The place is almost completely dark, almost. You notice a dim light shining through the curtains of an upper-story window. It's probably safe to assume that the head of the family is working late, especially if the head of the family happens to be a vampire. Okay, kid, we gotta be gentle about this. I'm talking velvet gloves, soft cushions. You're rang my lot gentle. We need to get Larson out here without making a fuss or letting his family see us. If we blow this, it will shut down like a speakeasy on raid tonight. Trust me, I know. What's the plan? Tell you what, how about you take the lead on this one? I'm curious to see how you handle it. You take a step back and look around the area. The lit-up window seems like a safe bet. Now it's just a matter of getting Larson's attention, his and no one else. As you're trying to come up with a viable strategy, you're suddenly startled by a loud noise. It takes you a second to identify the sound. It's a dog's barking. It doesn't take you long to figure out where it came from, as a bearded man, letting a Rottweiler on a leash, comes into view. Throw a small rock at the window. Do you really want to try to feed him He is walking around with a dog. The dog will attack you, and if the dog barks, it will alert the entire neighbor. That is not a good choice. You kneel down and pick a rock off the lawn, one small enough to not break the glass, but big enough to get someone's attention. After you chuck the rock at the window, it bounces off. The glass with a quiet but audible thunk. A moment passes in silence, making you think no one got your message. Just as you start to look for another rock, you hear the window slide open. A very unassuming and slightly unshaven man in a turtleneck appears at the window. As soon as he notices you, his expression sounds like he just smells something rotten. He addressed your Masquerade to panic in what could only be described as a very loud and very angry whisper. Get the fuck off my lawn! The angel. You know goddamn better than to show your ugly mug around. You glance over to the angel. He looks somewhat embarrassed, scratching the back of his neck, clearly trying to find the right angle to play this. Get down here or we get loud. Get your ass down here before we get really loud. Larson pierces you with his gaze. You can almost picture a fuse sticking out of his head, slowly burning away to an inevitable explosion. Luckily, he managed to put it out. Stay where you are. You wait out on the lawn, listening to Larson quietly, making his way downstairs. Before long, he appears on the porch, locking the front door behind him. He motions you to follow him off to the side of the house. There, he turns towards you. What do you want? It's about the Red Hook murders. We think one of yours is responsible. Bullshit. That's Spawn's got enough trouble just staying alive out here. What could possibly make them openly violate the Masquerade? Desperation. The killer has been leaving message. Whoever they are, I think they know something they can't share with just anyone. I know it seems far-fetched, but it's the only way this puzzle fits together. No, I don't buy it. You're reaching, trying to find a scapegoat. Getting your boss good grace. What gets around the angel? You think I don't know who you're looking for? Figures you would cover for one of your own. You're very protective of your people, huh? Even the naughty ones. Larson turns towards you. It looks good you'd be welcoming finding dead right about now. Listen to me, you little shit. As far as I know, I'm the oldest and most respected of my tribe in all of New York, and yet, even a sniveling neonate like you could take me out and not break a sweat. My people are weak, scared, unable to defend themselves from bullies like you, all because of a better roll of the dice. Instead of gift, all we got was a curse. So yes, I take care of my people, because no one else will. Having gotten it out of his system, Larson is quick to regain his composure. He continues in a much calmer tone. I asked around, consult my source. If it turns out one of my own is responsible, they will face justice. In the meantime, keep your deductions to yourself. I have enough trouble as it is. Deal. Good, now if you excuse me, I have to get back to my family. And with that, Larson retreats to the elusive safety of his home. You decide it's best to move along. You walk a couple blocks in utter silence. Even the angel's mumbling seems to have taken a back seat. Oddly enough, you find his newfound reticence somewhat unnerving. Finally, the Nosferatu stops and turns towards you. Hell night. I don't know about you, kid, but I sure could use a drink. Something warm in a tall, sweaty glass. But first, let me tally your score. Let's see now. You didn't make a good first impression. Unlike someone who can talk themselves out of a tight spot, talking is cheap. Bullets, not so much. You have your own at the crime scene. Nothing I had to figure out on my own, but hey, we can't all be professionals. Finally, when the situation called for subtlety, you manage to avoid unwanted attention. Discretion is what separates the private dick from just any old dick. All in all, you did fine. Not fine, but not bad for your first case. Don't let it get to your head. I'll be in touch. Let you know if I hear from Larson. Be ready to meet me at the office. He starts to walk away, but suddenly stops and turns back towards you. And bring a notepad. Every good assistant should have one. The plan was to return to your haven for the day. The sun is coming up soon, I thought, but that's not what the beast has in store for you. The feeling of emptiness, the overwhelming famishment that takes hold, you cannot be denied about it. The time when you could reason with your thirst is over. You don't remember how it happens. Exactly, but you find yourself in an alley sucking the last drop of blood from a savage gas in a corpse's neck. You have killed somebody tonight, and it very close to your haven. And attempts at covering up this poor soul dead becomes secondary. When you realize that dull glow over the city in the east, is the sun coming up. You barely made it back into your haven in time. You realize you're close to a mess torn in place, covered in blood, your victim's blood. Yeah, this is the first time we see what happens if you cannot control your hunger. So I don't mind how many people saw you get into the building. You don't know. It was a panic sprint to escape the light, instinct saving your skin. The same instinct that decided it was time to feed the beast. You cannot let this happen again. You cannot ignore the hunger for as long as you did before tonight. Your humanity depends on it. Alright, for an initiative, good while it lasts, I guess. Don't shoot the messenger. The car's wedding showing. You are able to werewolf for company. If you feel hits to the jaw, the man pass out from the pit. You're tracking, you're messing up my snap session here. Better be something big. I have something for you from Soap. Care to come to pick it up? One of these nights you'll have to buy something. You reflect as you ring the doorbell of the alcohol store that serves as Agathon's haven. Perhaps something about ours or the tower. The same sleep-deprived blonde woman you saw on your first visit opens the door for you. Each kindred has their own servants, and Agathon seems to go for the wicked mom type. I wish you come in. The woman disappears into the back room even as you close the door behind you. Lacking any better directions, you make your way up the stairs. At first, you thought the chanting was part of the ritual soundtrack that plays in the shop even at night. As you rush to the festival, you realize it's Agathon's voice. You come up just in time to see him standing in the middle of his ritual paraphernalia, with his wrist cut open over a wrought iron stand holding a blood red stone. As Agathon chants, Blood drips from the wound and has rushed onto the stone. It looks as if it's absorbed into it. It's probably not a good idea to interrupt blood rituals, so you wait inside. As Agathon's finished. A couple of minutes later, he opens his eyes and smiles ruefully. After so many rituals, I hope it's not too off-putting for you. Agathon smears a bit of his own blood over the wound, and you see it close. It looks like he does it so often, he barely pays attention to this reflex anymore. I'm cool. This is a bloodstone. Could be useful. He doesn't seem inclined to elaborate. Anyway, let's go. He pockets the stone and leads you back down the stairs and outside to his car. Soon you're on your way to the Queen's and Flushing Meadows Corona Park. Stay and watch while I perform a ritual. It'll reveal whether the notes we seek are here. I'll lose control of the incantation if you fail to keep me free of distraction. From the outside, the ritual is not particularly flashy. Agathon repeats the mantra under his breath and walks measured steps until he stops and turns around, walking back. It looks as if there's an invisible structure he must follow, unseen patterns, and limits governing his movements. As choreographies go, it doesn't look particularly difficult to learn, but you suspect there are hidden dimensions of skill and understanding involved. A lone drunken woman walked towards you. Hard to say what she's doing at the park. She's a little older, white, dressed like a suburban divorcee. What's your friend doing? It's kinda hard. The woman's a slab of alcohol, but she seems to have decided the evening's entertainment. Hey, you stop being weird and talk to me. The woman seems determined to walk past you to Agathon. This looks like just the kind of interruption that he was worried about. Agathon is immersed deep in his ritual, so why use the time you have constructively? You walk up to the woman from behind, grab her by the shoulder and sink your fangs into her throat. Blood stained with alcohol and horniness flows into your mouth. As the woman moans from the sudden pleasure of the kiss, I will need to sit down. Just as you lick the wound close, the woman collapses onto the grass, swaying, trying to sit up tight. Suddenly you hear a scream of rage. Startled, you turn around just in time to see Agathon running at the woman on the ground, his expression contorted with hate. Did the woman make enough noise to interfere with the ritual? That doesn't explain why he's in such a rage. Intervene. You step between Agathon and the woman and lift your hands up in an attempt to calm him down. What are you doing? This is not you, Agathon. Agathon looks at you, wide-eyed. For a second you're sure he will attack you. You see him tensing for a punch. Suddenly he snaps out, shaking his head, looking at the terrified drunken woman in disgust and embarrassment. Thank you. I'm so sorry you had to see that. I don't usually lose control. What was that ours? I know, what was that ours? It wasn't that woman. That was just a coincidence, something triggered a word. We have to go now. Agathon starts running towards his car, and you do your best to follow. Someone was watching us. That must be the reason why. He sensed it. This guy can sense someone approaching his ritual. Usually, Agathon drives more carefully than most humans. You know what? Now something's different. He's speeding, honking at every car that gets in your way. You're driving towards the bronze, and twice, Agathon almost collides with another car. He's clearly not used to driving fast, but somehow is overriding his usual caution. You screech to a stop in front of a red tie apartment building. Agathon jumps out of the car and starts running, leaving you to take the keys from the ignition and close the doors. Agathon disappears up the stairs and you follow his agitated shout. Abuela, it's me, JV. You come to the 5th floor landing after a run that would have left your mortal self winded to find Agathon banging on a apartment door and fiddling with his key ring. A few of the neighbors poke their heads out the door, but nobody intervenes. I can find the raccoon slams the door open, running inside. You follow, entering what looks like the home of an old Mexican lady. There are portraits of the mantelpiece and a crucifix on the wall. The smell in the apartment is musty with old age, and you detect a faint odor of vampiric blood. Sylvia, where are you? You come to the living room to find a body covered in a blanket in the corner of a sofa. The television is on, but the sound is off. It looks like a Spanish language channel. Agatha tears at the blanket, pulling it away in panic. It reveals an old woman waking up in very eye confusion. Javi, why are you barging in like this? Who's your friend? You're alive, Abuela. Agatha hugs the old lady, then turns to you. You have to introduce yourself. I check the words. Something triggered them, and I have to see if they still work. Sylvia snuggles deeper into her blankets. This is vampire business, isn't it? Always when there's trouble, it's the vampires. You stare at her, startled. Clearly the masquerade hasn't held in this household. Be honest. Yes, Agatha isn't worried someone wants to hurt you anyway. Amira, you must be his grandmother. Nobody wants to hurt me. Don't be silly. He's always worrying that boy. This is about the girl who came to visit. I can tell Javi was never good at keeping secret. So much like his mother. You hear Agatha rummaging around the small apartment, almost as if he's scratching something on the walls. He's always doing that, writing on the walls with blood, making runes. I tell him to cover them with the photos and the paintings, but he won't listen. I have to do it myself. That explains the faint smell of vampire blood in the apartment. Otherwise, how can I invite friends for tea? They ask questions if I have runes over my walls. It doesn't look like a Christian home anymore. The girl who visited was her name Juno. Yes, that's right, pretty name I suppose. She was just the kind of girl Agatha used to fall for. She was a vampire too, I expect. Are you a vampire? Surprised by the suggestions, Sylvia laughs uproariously, mouth convulsing her aged frame. Oh no, please don't say things like that, I'm an old woman. Laughing hurts. Agatha returns to the living room still agitated. She wants to send a message. If we don't let her find the notes first, she will hurt me. She will hurt her. He glanced meaningfully at the old woman. No, she won't. She gave me a message for you, Javi. You said to think very carefully whether your plan will really protect your loved ones. Agatha said Sylvia, stunned and confused. She was here to tell me that. Maybe that's good. It doesn't sound like she wants to hurt you. She was a nice girl, I can tell. Oh, Abuela, Midor Esco. This is all we can do here. To say your goodbyes. And soon you're back outside, sitting in Agatha's car. This was a catastrophe. To think Juno had been there. The war triggered when a vampire enters the pyramid, so Juno was there, just as I was doing the ritual in the park. I'll take you to your haven. He starts the car and begins the drive towards Manhattan. He appears agitated, emotions coursing under his stoic face. The message? What are you doing, Juno meant by the message? She's telling me that if push comes to shove, the Camarilla will kill my grandmother to protect the Masquerade or other kindred interests. As if I didn't know that, Lincoln is gripping the steering wheel harder than he should, although he's back to his usual careful driving style. Juno must still have feelings for you. I could explain why she does some of the things she does. Are you sure? Agatha sounds genuinely confused. Maybe you're right. I could never read her, even when we were together. Agatha drops you up in front of your haven. The experience leaves you with disquieting thoughts. You met Agatha's grandmother in awkward circumstance, but he clearly loves her very much. You don't know enough about the world of the kindred to say whether that's normal or not. It seems to keep Agatha connected to the world in a way that feels alien for some of the other kindred you have met. Perhaps there's a lesson in that. We can't do anything now. This is too perfect of an opportunity to not take advantage of. She's walking to her car, ready to go, and when you sneak out on her, she's about to try to resist your stronghold and swift bite. You can taste the caffeine in her veins, smell the cheap cigarettes in her hair, the old cooking grease in her clothes. She passed out. You saw the clothing note a long way at work. You let her down gently and feel a pang of remorse. You pick up the car keys you drop and place her in the driver's seat. She'll find it explains it, but passing on with this for sure. The bright lights of a car pulling up, yeah, there he is. Same as everyone. Position, power, influence. Thomas has cloud and court. And access to many juicy details on everyone from prince to the lowest primogen. It's useful to have him on your side, even if his eccentricity requires some patience. I still remember seeing your head got chopped off, even though they're not showing it directly. They are telling me to imagine it through words, and it kinda... I don't know. I can't imagine. I just picture the scenes in my head and it felt kind of surreal. Notes for Aisling Sturbridge. The final confrontation between Agatha and Juno's getting near, and Aisling Sturbridge, higher trend of the country of the five boroughs in New York, is impatient to see its results. You are in your haven when someone knocks on your front door, partially open. I can stand in the hallway expectantly, as if the 10 seconds it took for you to come to the door was an impossible imposition. You need my help. For the research notes, you need my help. Yes, exactly, let's go. You follow Agathan down to the street, wondering what kind of revelations tonight will hold. So far, Agathan's rituals haven't been successful locating the research notes. But you've learned a lot about the Camarilla and Agathan himself. This time I've got it. The problem when an old vampire disappears, even from our clan, is that was so secretive it's hard for us to find out what they were up to. Agathan's car is parked on the curb. You get in and Agathan starts to drive. You may have guessed the notes we're looking for belong to an old member of our house. The problem is that we need them to continue the research. So why does Juno need the notes? What does Juno want to do with these notes is she going into research? Agathan looks at you uncertainly before returning his eye to the streets ahead. I don't know, but I can guess. You wait for him to continue, but he doesn't seem inclined to do so. You're getting used to sitting in Agathan's car in silence. He drives, you look out the window, back to Queens. Eventually, you roll into an industrial area called Willis Point. It doesn't even really look like a place where a blood sorcerer would hang around. Agathan parks in front of a car repair shop that looks like it has seen better days. There are huge puddles of water on the road and car wrecks strewn about. Better be quick. If I can find this place, so can Juno. You look around to see if someone's observing you, but there don't seem to be any people about. And why would there? Who would hang around at a place like this at night? Agathan strides the front door of the repair shop, then circles around to the back. You follow him. There's a broken window in the back, protected by iron bars. Agathan grabs them and gives them a quick shake. The entire iron grill comes off. Startled, Agathan lowers it to the ground. I suppose someone else has broken in already and didn't want to leave an obvious point of entry. You and Agathan climb inside through the window. It's awkward but not difficult. Looking around, you realize that the repair shop has been abandoned for some time. It looks like homeless people have stayed here, but nobody's living on the premise right now. You try a last switch, but nothing happens. You know the drill. I do the ritual in the office. Make sure there are no interruptions. Agathan makes his way to the repair shop's office, a slightly cleaner area than the rest of the building. He begins the ritual in the dark. Board starts shifting through the papers. Left on the office work desk. Shift seats invoice adds nothing from the last day. There's a small tip on the desk, probably from the 90s. Looking closer, you realize there's a post-it note in the middle of the TV screen you take. It reads, Loser Juno. I can stop gesturing. It's not here. How is that possible? You show him the post-it note. He takes it and looks it over, as if suspecting it might hide a devious trick. Fuck, she has the notes. And she had to gloat. We have to go. It feels like you've spent a lot of time recently hurrying after Agatha as he walks briskly in our buildings into his car. He starts the car as you close the door. You have to go to her haven. Gets the notes, there's no time to waste. Despite the urgency in his words, Agatha drives carefully as ever. It seems only a threat to his grandmother. It's enough to make him drive recklessly. What do we do with her? Is she an enemy? Let's not be hasty. I'm sure we can talk this through. Agatha doesn't sound too convinced. Juno's haven is in Brooklyn, in a waterfront warehouse. He drives south to Brooklyn. This is one of the advantages of being undead. Moving at night traffic is much easier than if you wanted to zoom around 5 boroughs during rush hours. Parking the car, Agatha points to a light coming from an otherwise dark yellow brick warehouse. That's her. Let's go in. Let's go around the warehouse. Preferring to keep a low profile for now, you circle around the building and look for an alternative entry point. You find a rusty metal door with no window in it on the very end of the building. Some kind of emergency exit. You get it open with little difficulty, entering the building with Agatha. You emerge in a light, proof room section off one side with a cheap plywood wall. There's a flimsy looking door that probably leads to the main warehouse area. You stop to listen. You hear 2 voices, but they are hard to make out. One is Juno and the other sounds like it comes from underwater. What strange resonance. You do your best to make out what they're saying, but you understand only bits and pieces. Is it possible for me to bring another? Yes. We're too powerful. Enough waiting. Agatha tries to break the door by ramming it to his shoulder. It's flimsy and crushed in with surprisingly little effort. You and Agatha march into the space and find yourselves at the periphery of a candle-lit ritual circle. Your eyes are drawn to the washer bins at Juno's feet. Maybe it's your imagination, but it almost feels like the water inside is emitting a wan, red light of its own. Juno, you have to stop. Hand me the notes. Oh, Agatha, you're such an eater. This is beyond you now. I'll give you one last chance. Come with me. Forget Aisling and her power games. Join me, and you become your own man. What? Agatha seems genuinely flabbergasted at the suggestions. Who should contact Juno? Who are you talking to? Juno smiles at you. That's a good question. I guess Aisling's Sturbridge doesn't go around trumpeting the fact that the hierarchy doesn't hold a monopoly on Camarilla power anymore. There are other forces out there, and I join them. Juno picks up a bulging old folder from a chair inside the ritual circle. If this dumbass has any brains, he'll join me. No, and not for the clan, but for my family, my real family. I won't betray the clan, you know that. Juno sighs. She doesn't look surprised at Agatha's refusal to come with them. I would have felt bad if I hadn't offered you the chance. Come back to the church with me, Juno. Talk to us and you will see that this is not a good idea. You glance at Agatha in concern. You're no sorcerer, but the idea of fighting Juno in the middle of her ritual circle doesn't feel like a good idea. 2 words. Fuck you. present. Please just give us the notes. We won't stop you from leaving. Juno showed a slump. I'm tired of the fight. I'm tired having to bust my ass with some assholes like Iceland. I want a new life away from all this crap. Juno waits the photo in her hand. Maybe I should just give this to you. She walks towards you, and you put your hand on the photo. But by then, Juno's eye brightened with realization. You fucker, you are manipulating me. She slaps your face, and you feel as if your inside suddenly caught fire. You open your mouth, but no sounds comes out. Finally, you focus on the feeling of Agatha's hand on your shoulder, and you realize you lie sprawled on the floor. Are you alright? Can you speak? The pain is receding, but you feel like shit. Hurting all over and barely able to walk. It'll take a lot of blood to mend from this state. Agatha supports you as you walk back. He's smiling. You notice the folder under his arm. She got away, but I have the notes. I'm sorry you got hurt, but it was worth it. Worth it? You would tell him a thing or two about your view of the situation, but your tongue is momentarily a lump of charcoal in your mouth. You sit in silence as Agatha drives you back to Manhattan. Traffic in the small hours is mercifully slight. And consider your next words. Does she join the Camarilla rebels? What happens to her? What happens to Juno now? Is your plan really going to let her go? Maybe, I don't really know. We have the notes and that's what counts. Agatha sounds almost as if he wanted Juno to escape. Perhaps it really was about the research one. You reach the occult bookstore. After Agatha parks the car, you head inside. You climb to the first floor to find Arlene Sturbridge waiting for you. She looks surprisingly casual for someone with such power. You have good news, I hope. Yes, we have the notes. Agatha hands over the folder. Arlene Sturbridge carries the cover with obvious joy. Wonderful, you did not disappoint. What of Juno? We were not able to stop her. She escaped. Well, no matter, Agatha. You proved yourself yet again, and Midori looks like the pyramid has a good friend in you.